Welcome to Learn to Live Stress-Free. This is Christine Wright with Dr. Robert Wright Jr., your go-to wellness coaches of www.stressfreenow.info. Our featured guest today is Conscious Biz Coach Audra Grady Miller, speaking about the 4 myths heart-centered entrepreneurs struggle with while creating conscious, sustainable businesses. Audra helps heart-centered coaches, entrepreneurs, holistic practitioners, and therapists survive and thrive in conscious, sustainable businesses. Audra directly addresses the key pain point many heart-centered business owners face: how to get and keep their ideal clients while providing products and services that allow them to spread joy in the world and simultaneously make a living by following their passion. After 10 years in higher education, mentoring, and coaching over 1,000 students, Audra stepped out on her own with a master's in organizational management, extensive training in social entrepreneurship and small business, and as a 2-time business owner herself, she now supports new coaches and holistic practitioners across the nation to create a conscious, sustainable business the first time around. When she first started, she struggled to get enough clients to survive, and it was such a struggle that when she finally learned how to attract and enroll her ideal clients, she felt called to help others to do the same. She is passionate about supporting holistic practitioners to get out of their own way and create a clear pathway to getting clients and getting paid. Just in the last year, she has supported over 100 individuals to start careers and lives that they love. Audra is now on track to having a 6-figure business and supporting thousands of people to step into their soul's calling while having a higher income and impact. She is an advocate for social and ecological justice and is a facilitator for Pachamama Alliance. She is currently writing her dissertation on eco-psychology and sacred economics. Audra, welcome. We are so glad to have you back on the show today.
Thanks so much. I'm excited to be back with both of you.
Great, Audra. Welcome back. And audience, you're in for a treat. Audra Grady Miller is with us all the way from San Francisco area, and she is going to be speaking about the 4 myths heart-centered entrepreneurs struggle with while creating conscious, sustainable businesses. So, Audra, would you please lay out for our audience the 4 myths heart-centered entrepreneurs struggle with repeatedly?
Sure, I'd love to. And you can also find these videos on my website where I go into depth on each one of these myths. But the 4 myths are that you have to have a website before you can get into business, that you have to sell yourself, that you have to build things before you can sell them, and that you have to give free sessions away. So in essence, these 4 myths rely on one key idea, which is you have to do a lot of work before you can be in business. And that's not necessarily true.
As I listened to you, Audra, what popped into my mind was Barbara Scheer. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her story. I just love it when she says, and hey, no disrespect, we love having a great website. She said a website is just a giant billboard. And I think Barbara Scheer was one of the originators. She just went out there and did it. And I know it is easy for us to over-prepare and over-prepare and over-prepare and never make the move. And you do have such wonderful resources for our audience on YouTube, on your site, on Facebook. And, you know, in your video, you talk about this thing of why it's not a good idea to give away your services for free. And Bob and I agree with that, but there are many who use that as a business model. Could you explain what is detrimental about that practice?
Sure. So when we give away a free session, this is often the case with massage or body workers, Reiki, other energy workers, people that are doing some sort of practice. They want to give the session so people can experience it, and the idea is that they'll want to come back for more. Well, what's detrimental about this is that in a full session, someone will experience relief of a problem, pain point, challenge in their life. And at the end of that session, they feel better. And so there isn't any reason for them in their mind in that moment to come back to you for more sessions. And so when you make the invitation then to work with you for ongoing sessions or work through a package or a program, they feel like, well, actually I feel better. I'm okay. I think I can do this on my own. And as holistic practitioners and coaches and our listeners here today, we all know the truth of that is we cannot change as human beings in so dramatically in 1 hour that the problem or challenge will be complete and will be gone away. And for most practitioners, I recommend like a 3-month period. That's not for everyone, but most often to have healing, change, or transformation happen with our clients, we need to be working with them for a period of time. And the free session leaves people feeling like, I got this, when they probably don't. And in a couple weeks or a couple days, they're going to start to feel those symptoms again. And by then, they've already moved beyond you, and they may or may not come back. So we want to give them a taste of an experience rather than the whole shebang.
Yes, I certainly agree. And I think there is also the aspect of worth that the practitioners are skilled. They spent a great deal of time in their education, and the service they're offering is, as you said, giving healing, making life better, and that you as a client to understand and to commit to a relationship of doing work and growing and healing in some way, that this is a value-based service, and this is something that there's a financial investment as well as a time investment.
Audra, there's something else here that I think you've put your finger on about our culture. Christine and I have talked about this issue from the time to time, and we've talked about this issue with other practitioners like, biofeedback or neurofeedback people. In fact, the joke, we have a friend that she says that her biggest task in her business is educating her clients that they really need what it is that she has. And I remember when she said that several years ago, and we said, oh my gosh, you're spending all your time. She says, well, they need the neurofeedback, but I have to convince them that they need it, even though it will help them do X, Y, and Z or better their life, that she's spending the bulk of her time educating them to know that they need it. And, for example, someone that wants to stop smoking, and then, she has a technique with using neurofeedback that would help them, smoking cessation. But she's got to convince them. So my point in bringing all of that up is simply this, that there's some aspect that we've seen in our society that many people don't value something that's given to them for free. That when you were talking, it made me think of like, if people don't pay for something. I remember the first time I heard someone say that, I said, is that really true? But I have to say, unfortunately, it's not true of everyone, but I would just say the preponderance of people, many people have this idea, I got this for free. It can't be worth much if I got it for free. And so I just wanted to bring up that point that we both agree with you. In fact, Christine has said to me, Bob, make sure you don't give a free session, or, I will do this, I have this available, free consultation, et cetera, but not giving away my time. So I want to thank you for that. I think that is a key thing that heart-centered practitioners wrestle with, because, again, this is like when you go into the supermarket and they offer, we notice that spoon is very tiny, the free sample, right? As you said, they don't give a full cup of ice cream, right? And that's what
that's a great analogy.
You're getting. They just give a little taste just so that they can get it, and then the free session is like giving a full cup of Haagen-Dazs, and so then they're like, okay, I had my ice cream. That's what I hear you saying.
Yeah, and once in a while, Ben and Jerry's does give their ice cream away for free, right? Like once a year. Right. And so if you're going to use that tool use it very sparingly and as a way to potentially build your practice when you're first getting started and you need to grow your skills. But when you're in your business and you are identifying and trying to connect with new potential clients, giving your services away is devaluing what you're offering, because now you've gone through your training and your education, you've done those sessions where you've built your skills, and now you're an expert in your field and in your work. And so valuing that time, we need to do that first before we expect our clients to.
Could you repeat that about the devaluing? Could you just say that sentence again? That's so beautiful what you said.
That we need to value our work first before we expect our clients to, and then we give it away, we're devaluing that.
All right, listeners, did you hear that? Remember that. Audra, thank you. That is really, just a beautiful concept to grasp. And I think in your bio, when you spoke about this and in your previous appearance on our show, when you talked about, doing business and as an entrepreneur and you're having to declare bankruptcy initially and then your next business being successful in just 30 days so that you are running a business. So if you're giving your services away for free, are you really operating a business?
Nope. That's a great point, Christine. Really, you have a hobby if you're giving it away for free and you're not creating revenue.
Right, and as you said, this is a value-based, conscious business, and we do offer a lot of information and give a lot of information, but to really work in depth with a client, whether you're a body practitioner or a coach, is a different level of service. So thank you so much for that aspect of our conversation. I think it's very important for business owners to understand. Now, Audra, you have also said, and your business is about having clients, that connecting with clients and customers is key to sustaining your business. So how do you get this connection and to keep it going? I mean, you mentioned, in our previous discussions about social media and in person. How do you balance that, and how do you map that out?
Sure. Connection's always the first step, and the second step is being of service. And so once we've created that connection, we need to honor it, and we need to uphold that connection. And we need to do that over time, right? So if our work is not an ideal fit for somebody right now, maybe it will be in the future. And how will we know if we don't maintain that connection? And so when we're building our community, we need to build pathways of staying connected to those people and having them connected to each other over time. And that could be through things like your email list or a Facebook group, videos that you share, your messaging over time. So we're building that community and being of service to people, even if they don't hire us, can be the best way of getting referrals. And so the work that you're doing to connect and build this community has a ripple effect. And even if this initial person doesn't become a paying client, they might refer your highest paying, longest term client that you ever have in your business. And that connection you've made could be later on worth lots of profit in your business. And so truly being present to what people need and being of service to that starts before they're a paying client, without giving away your services for free and devaluing it, but genuinely being interested in supporting them through this community that you're building. And then referrals are something that you really need to build in your business and ask for. So we can talk more about that if you're interested.
Oh, very definitely. I think that really is an important topic. You said something that I think not everyone realizes at first, that while you're having a conversation with someone and they're not interested, that they actually can lead to the person who will. Because I think sometimes people will tend to cut off a conversation. This is a no, and they don't bother, and they stop short. When this is actually a great lead. Right.
Well, and it's the long view of our work, right? So we can't just look at this person in front of us that has just arrived and say, oh, well, they're a no, so I'm going to move on. We have to look at our community and our work as a body of work over a period of time in our life. And the connections and community we're building are the foundation for that work. Without those other people, we have nothing, right? We don't have a job, we don't have a business, because there isn't anybody to work with and to uplift us and support things that we're doing and sharing with people.
Great, Audra. I have a hot button question. You know, our society is very extroverted and extrovert oriented, even though at least 40% of Americans are introverts. And so we see many people who are literally twisted into knots trying to act as if they're extroverts. In fact, I remember we attended an event, and when we went around the table, there was a woman there who said, well, you know, I have an IT type job, and I got the highest rating for my performance review, but my boss said to me that the need for improvement was to learn how to be an extrovert, right? And so this was like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Elaine Aron's highly sensitive person model, but the issue is many people make a mistake and not understanding that being shy has nothing to do with being an introvert, and that the recovery time for an introvert is different. So here's what I mean. So, for example, an extroverted person would get energy out of going to a large group, and they are energized, whereas the introverted person, because of how they interact with the world, they could have a great time, but when they come home, they're drained. Their battery needs to be recharged, like their cell phone, right? So people are not surprised, oh, I have to plug my cell phone in to recharge it. They get that. So introverts, when they're doing certain things, need to be recharged differently than extroverts. So my question to you, and I know there are many introverts that are in the healing community in particular, that, you know, one of the reasons they went into that it fits them very well. So if a person is an introvert, or if they're quiet and the reserved type, Audra, how do they get the same results that an extroverted a person would get? And I was specifically thinking of a situation where I was walking out of a restaurant one time, and these five guys came out in front of me, and they were one guy was very loud, and he was saying, oh, Michael, you know, what's wrong with him? He stayed in the hotel room while we all came to the sports bar. And then the other person said, oh, but Michael doesn't drink. And so we're here drinking. And the guy kept harping on the fact that the Michael guy should have come even though he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke. And so I was thinking about that, and I said, oh, that person is probably an introvert and didn't want to be in that situation. So, but now in a business context, he has coworkers that are thinking he's antisocial. So that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about, that in the business context, you know, this was an employee-employee thing, but I'm saying in a business context, how does the introverted person interface in a way that they're not seen as asocial or antisocial, and they can get the job done to get the results because they have the skills that can help so many people?
Yeah, great question. And I think we do see a lot of highly sensitive people, as you termed it, which I agree with, in the holistic business and practitioner community. And even for those of us who are extroverted, like myself, I get energy from others. I still need to be able to manage my energetic resources. And I think there's this idea that might be false around extroverts always having to be out there. We all need to develop the skill set of managing our energetic resources when we put it out there and when we're receiving energy back, however we receive it, right? And so for the more sensitive person or introverted person that needs to refuel themselves, recharge themselves, by being alone or being in nature, not being around crowds of people, and or may be shy in addition and not wanting to be public speaking all the time, we can build our business model around this. So build your business around what your strengths are. So if your strength is to speak powerfully, but once in a while, maybe once a year you have a big event that you put together, and the rest of the year you're behind the scenes putting all the pieces together and doing your marketing online, gauge how much you can put out and what you need to receive back and how much downtime you need to have, and then build that into your business. Some of that takes trial and error over time, but is totally possible. So if you're this kind of behind-the-scenes person, you don't want to be out front so much, you don't want to be in groups, a couple ways that you can do that. One is be the speaker and the leader in a community, but protect your energy when you're off stage. So I know speakers who are introverted who go on stage, they do their talk, and then they get off stage and they have somebody that's there with them, helping them to guard their energy and move them out of the room quickly so that they can go have downtime and refuel. And so that doesn't mean you're not available for your people. It just means you're taking care of your needs first, and that you can take care of those people in other ways, like online or through questions via email later, or through personal phone conversations. Another piece would be, to do more of the online piece rather than the in-person piece. Your conversations don't have to be any less meaningful because they're online. And if you can create a community and a platform where you can share and speak online, you could have just as much impact, if not more. That's one of the ways that I've built my business, is through sharing videos online versus always being in person and speaking. So videos and webinars and audios and podcasts like this are great for people who don't want to always be out front in presence with people at events and in community in that way.
Well, thank you, Audra, for that point of clarity. And I just want to thank you for something else that you said, because that's something that is misunderstood, too. You said extroverts also need to take care, or else they can get into a debilitated situation. And what popped into my mind was there have been all these recent studies where in the sports realm, that some of the top college football programs, the coaches have discovered that when the football players get more rest, and what I mean by rest is lights out by 10 o'clock. And what they discovered is that by getting more sleep and rest, some of the coaches are now sleeping in the dorms with the players to enforce lights out by 10 o'clock, that the grade point average and the performance on the field has skyrocketed just because they're getting more rest. So in terms of, and so I'm talking about recovery. So whether it's sleep, rest, and then as you know, with the advent of the smartphone, part of the issue is that the blue wavelength light interferes with the circadian rhythm. So if you have recent study showed that 47% of people admit to falling asleep with their phone in their hands, and so that blue light, they would not even be getting the restful sleep. And so thank you for that. It's not an introvert extrovert thing. It's we all need to find that still place that works for us individually.
Definitely.
Well, yes. Well, now that we have a new term, managing our energetic resources, I like that. So, audience, we'll be back in a moment on Learn to Live Stress-Free with our featured guest, Audra Grady Miller.
Hi, I'm Dr. Robert Wright, Jr., the Stress Relief Doctor, co-host of the Learn to Live Stress-Free podcast series. I'm an author, speaker, and stress management wellness coach. My published study is the first to show the connection between stress reduction, grief recovery, nitric oxide spiking, and the relaxation response. And my practical application of this knowledge helps you relieve the stresses of everyday life. I have the tools to dissolve your pain points quickly and effectively. Email me to find out how you can start to feel better now at stressfreenow.info/contact. That's stressfreenow.info/contact. Have you been procrastinating about completing an important project or pursuing a treasured dream? Christine Wright specializes in helping her coaching clients to lay out clear, elegant strategies. She shows you how to quickly build your confidence, to uncover and eliminate your habitual patterns of resistance and self-sabotage. Christine helps you discover those meaningful insights that will get you to do what works so you can celebrate your successes. Go to stressfreenow.info/contact to let Christine know that you're ready to live your ideal life now. Again, that's stressfreenow.info/contact.
Welcome back to Learn to Live Stress-Free as we continue our conversation with our featured guest, the Conscious Biz Coach, Audra Grady Miller.
Hi, Audra. Before the break, we touched on something, but I'd like you to give our listeners a key point of clarity here. Can you explain how business owners can zero in on and directly meet the needs of their ideal client?
Sure. I think that, this comes out of all of that we've spoken about already in the first interview on your podcast and today, that the connection piece is really what we need to build our business around. And that connection has layers of depth, right? So when we are building a community and we really want to connect with a group of clients that have a similar set of needs, we need to get to know what those needs are really intimately. We need to know who our people are, what they're challenged by. And most often when I'm talking with clients about really getting clear on their niche or their target market, their community's people, the easiest way to do this is to find people who are similar to you and your challenges and problems, because you already know those challenges most intimately in your own life and can relate to where they are in their lives. But in both cases, when you are part of your own target market or not, the best way to really identify those needs is to talk to your clients or your ideal clients and ask them. So one of the very first steps that I use with my clients when they come in and they're starting to build their business is to do informational interviews with the types of people that they think they want to work with. So if you want to work as a doula, you need to start asking moms-to-be or pregnant women what their needs are and find out exactly what they need from them in their own words without creating an idea in our own mind and putting our own language on it. And then we can actually use their words, their key words and terms, not verbatim, but there's key themes that are going to arise when you do a set of interviews with a group of people. And you can start to put that into your copy and your marketing.
Great, Audra. In your four myths video, you make distinctions between interviewing, intake, and consultations. Can you lay out how segmenting the business presentations in that way into those kind of categories can help the conscious business owner thrive?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we just talked about the interview. The interview is really just a conversation where you're getting to know your people. An intake would be once somebody has identified that this could potentially be a fit and they'd like to have more of a conversation with you and enroll in a consultation or a strategy session with you. The intake is a process that you would go through with them. So what I do is send a survey to them online where they can just fill in some questions. These are different questions than the interview, the informational interview. This is specifically about who they are, what their challenge is, and in regards to the work that you can do with them. So you can quickly identify if this person is actually a match for what you do, and if you want to continue with them and have this consultation. And you can also be more prepared in that consultation conversation to truly meet the needs that they have because they told you what they need and you have a starting point. And then in the consultation, it's really about, okay, now that we've identified here's your need and you fit into the work that I do, the community of work that I do, and it could potentially be a fit, what are the other questions that we have on both sides that we need to clarify to see if moving forward with this work together would be a good time right now, a right next step. So the interview, the intake, and the consultation. And all three of these create information for us that we can use to continually refine our offerings in our business.
Excellent, excellent. I really appreciate how clear and comprehensive this business information that you're sharing is. Now, Audra, we did talk, we have already spoken a little bit about referrals here. When you do have your client that's satisfied and happy with your work and, you know, their time is up but they go on, or even while they're still working with you, how do you approach your clients about making referrals?
Yeah, great question. And I'd love to provide some more, strategic and specific steps that you can take as practitioners. The referral itself can be an invitation that you make to your community in several different ways. The first way would be if you're on the phone with somebody in a consultation and they do not become a client of yours at that time, asking them for a referral for others who might be a good fit for this consultation. I talk more in my Get Clients Masterclass, the course that I teach online, about why and how you would make that referral request during the consultation and why you would want to do it if they're not going to become a client versus if they are. So I won't get into that much depth right now. Another place that you can ask for referrals is from your clients who are enrolled, are participants in your programs and services, and are getting benefits from the work that you're doing. So you don't want to ask the person who just became your client and hasn't seen results yet of the work that you're doing together. You want to ask those people who have seen, yes, this work has impacted my life in a positive way. It is meeting the needs that I came here with, and I am receiving those outcomes that I intended for and more. So those people who are your greatest success stories will be your best referral partners. And they are the best people to describe the work that you do and how you do it. And they're probably connected to others who are your ideal clients, because we often surround ourselves with people who are like-minded and like-hearted. In addition, you could follow up with previous clients that have already completed their work and may know of somebody that you could be of service to in the future.
Audra, I want to thank you for that answer, because this issue of referrals in business is really key. And in fact, we know quite a few people that 90% of their business is from referrals. In fact, they don't do any advertising at all. It's all word of mouth. And they come to people, and we have quite a few colleagues that we refer people to them all the time. We're talking to someone about astrology and say, "Oh, we'll send you to so and so," or whatever. And so I want to thank you for making a clarification, because one of the things about referrals that can come up is that you can bump up against is that you're in a community or people and they know what you do and they think very highly of what you do, etc. But when you approach them for a referral, the response could come back, if I refer you to someone, I will become that guy or that girl, which means that, and so that's a very negative, and no one wants to become that person. You gave that person my name and they called me for life insurance or whatever, and so I think you made a key distinction that really was helpful to me as a point of clarity, that you said the best referral partner is someone that has actually experienced the work, and so because they've experienced it, you don't have to sell. And I think that is the key, one of the key pain points of people in the that are heart-centered businesses, that they struggle with that. How do I get this done without being pushy or selling, or you know what I'm saying? That they that do this in an ethical kind of way. So I want to thank you for that, because when you gave that distinction, and I said, I actually can remember circumstances when the person knew about it, but then once they experienced it, it's like that was a different level of recursivity. It changed the relationship. That is one thing to know about, but there's another thing to know. And so thank you for that.
Yeah, my pleasure. And just I want to add one point to that is, when somebody has experienced something with you, they now have a story to share that is their own, rather than your story to share. And when it's their own, they can connect to the emotion of that and share that, and the other person can feel that emotion too. And that's the connection, again, that we've been talking about over and over. And that's what we need to build every part of our business on, rather than this disconnection of, oh, this person might be for you, but I really don't know because I have no idea what their services are actually like. I'm just making a referral. So if they can share their own experience, it's going to be a much more powerful point of connection for the person who's hearing it.
Thank you, Audra. That is truly a very valid point. Bob and I, again, we really appreciate your being on our show, and I know I particularly like your message of building on your strengths. So thank you for being with us and sharing all that you have to offer, and I'd like you to take this time to let our audience know how they could work with you, and I know that you have an offer for our listeners.
Sure, yes. You can always find me on my website, audragrady.com, and you can find your free gift there at audragrady.com/blueprint, where you can download your Get Clients, Get Paid Conscious Biz Blueprint, which is an outline and a plan for both how you can build your business model, how you can do your work in your business, and create your business plan or your strategic plan on an annual basis. So this is a tool that you can immediately apply in your business. And it's what I go into more depth in my courses and programs with people. You can always contact me through the contact tab on my website, or also find me on Facebook at facebook.com/yourconsciousbiz. And I'm always happy to connect with people personally if you want to friend me and message and connect in that way.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Audra. So, listeners, you can find out more about Audra at her website, audragrady.com. That's AUDRAGRADY, audragrady.com. And you can get your free gift of her Get Clients, Get Paid Conscious Biz Blueprint at audragrady.com/blueprint, or check her out on Facebook at facebook.com/yourconsciousbiz.
So, Audra, what final thoughts or key idea would you like our audience to take away from today's broadcast?
Thanks, Bob. I just want to emphasize before we go this point that we made today in our conversation, which was an unexpected one for me, and one of the beautiful things of coming together in this way and co-creating a conversation, and that's managing your energetic resources. And so if you can build your business model around your strengths, your energy, and how it works in your life as a solopreneur, you're going to have much more success than trying on somebody else's model that doesn't fit for who you are and what your needs are. And so if your needs are being met consistently as the business owner, you will then be able to share more resource with your clients in your community, versus if you're always draining yourself of your energy and you're reaching those points of burnout, you're not able to really be of service. So taking care of yourself first and building your business around that can be a real strategic asset in your work that can take you past where others have achieved in their own businesses.
Well, thank you for that, Audra, and you have opened another door to another podcast, because both Christine and I, we talk extensively about burnout and ways to avoid that, and so we'll have to have you come on to talk about that aspect on another podcast. So, audience, I want to thank you for listening, and Audra, I want to thank you for being our featured guest today. Today we've had on Audra Grady Miller, the Conscious Biz Coach. So, audience, I want to thank you for listening wherever you are and whatever time zone you're in right now. We want you to know, again, that we appreciate your presence and trust that you have benefited in some way from the information delivered during today's show. Of course, as always, we welcome and look forward to receiving your comments about our podcast. Please let us know if there are any additional topics you'd like to see us cover, or if there is a guest you enjoyed whom you'd like us to invite back. Please contact us through our website with your feedback and suggestions. Remember, listeners, if you'd like to experience the same benefits our coaching clients get with us, including learning how you can get more results in your day and easy ways to dissolve your chronic pain, stress, and anxiety, then give us a call at 888-900-2179. Mention that you heard our Stress Free Now podcast show, and you will receive a free bonus gift from us. Call today to schedule your appointment. And remember, listeners, that Audra has a free gift for you, a free offer as part of this podcast. For Christine Wright, this is Dr. Robert Wright, Jr. of www.stressfreenow.info. Until next time, be safe and be well.